Hello and welcome to Your Property Podcast. My name is Michelle Kearns and today we've got with us Ben Ross. Hi Ben.
Hey there, Michelle. How you doing?
Great, thank you. It's great to have you on with us today. And you have been quite prolific on your social media over the past year or two, very consistent in sharing your journey. And I thought I'd invite you on because you are actually one of the few people that we've got through our training programs that have actually been on the service accommodation training, the development, and now total design as well. So a very interesting aspect, and we've watched your journey through purchasing this property that we're going to talk about today. But you've got a very interesting angle because you've done the training from all sides so far. So let's just tell people a bit about yourself and how and why you've got into property.
Yeah, okay. So I finally decided I wanted to leave my corporate position in 2021. So started studying. Well, it took me a bit of time to find property was the answer. But then once I knew property was the way out, then I just spent my time just studying and found YPN, and it's been amazing. Yeah, just the amount of content that you guys cover for such good value. Yeah, that's been really good. And why property? I suppose it's just achieving that freedom that we're all after in this game, the financial or time or location freedom. So that's my driver.
Right. And how did you choosing this property and this strategy? How was you found the journey? Like, just talk us through how you got started with this project.
Yeah, it was just, I think the first 6 months in 2022 was just consuming as much content as possible and just listening to podcasts every opportunity. And I've already got a little bit of background in service accommodation, so I've always kind of leaned towards that because I know it's one of the higher cash flow methods. So if I was trying to replace my corporate career income, I felt like that was a good route. So I learned about one of the podcasts about like the apart hotel strategy and self-check-in, and I just felt that fit perfectly with what I was hoping to achieve.
You've kind of gone in at the deep end, really. Most people might start off with like a 1-bed flat or a 3-bed house that do for contractors or something. But tell us about the project. Where is it? What is it?
Yeah, so it's up in Wooler in Northumberland. Had all the right move alerts set up for Wooler for a while. I think it was an agent that told me about Ad Geffrins. There's a whiskey distillery that they're opening, or have opened now. It's opened last month. So he told me about this up and coming place called Wooler. Never heard of it. Set all the alerts up once I had that tip. And when I kind of got to that point where I'd learned about this strategy, this property came up, and it just fit perfectly. It is fairly large. It's 250 square meters, and it's right on the high street and only 8-minute walk away from this new attraction, which is expected to bring in 50,000 people per annum. And the village is tiny, so it's going to be huge for the area.
Wow. And how did you decide on this particular type of building then? Because for most people, they might be put off by such a kind of big development for their sort of first larger development. So how did you, in terms of confidence and also having the knowledge and the team in place to go for this type of project, how did that work?
Probably more stupidity and naivety than anything else.
Love it.
So all through my life, my mum's always been involved in property, and I've always done she's been flipping houses all through when we were growing up, and that's how my mum and dad moved up the property ladder, I suppose, to where they are now. So I've always been around construction and building, and did my own residential property up, so I had quite good base construction knowledge from that. So yeah, it was just that next step up for me, I think. I think, yeah.
And remind me, how many rooms is it?
It's 7.
So
Yeah.
7 all en suite. And what condition did you buy it in? Did you make them an offer to get it below market value, or?
It was on for 250,000, and I just read the book. What's the? I can't think what it's called now. One of the negotiation books. I can't think what it's called now.
Never Split the Difference?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, thank you. So I just read that, and they're talking about extreme anchors and all these kind of strategies used. And I made sure I did it all in email, so I could then really take my time wording what I wanted to say, using the techniques to use in that book. So
On
yeah,
then.
and it worked. It worked a treat because they had offers over 250, and I got it for 238. So I think my first offer was way down. It was I think about 222 or something like that. So yeah, it was good. It works.
So for people who haven't read the book, then how do the anchors work? And how did you use it in the emails?
You just go extremely low, and just it. It's almost like an insulting offer, really, isn't it? It's bending their reality on what that they've got an idea of what they think their property's worth, and you just completely lowball them, and then it's bending their reality to come down. And what they might do then is like, well, we can't accept that, which is what you expect, but then we can do this. So instantly, you've just knocked them down a peg, and then that's the price they're trying to achieve now. It was never 250. And then from there, you can then try and work in between your offer and then their counter offer, I suppose.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting strategy, and some people might think, oh well, I'm afraid of losing the deal, or like you say, insulting them. But if you're not embarrassed by your first offer, then you've offered too much, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Depends how much you want the deal. It depends, obviously, at what price point it works, etc. But yeah, you've obviously seen an opportunity in this. So it was a tired B&B, and then what are your plans to renovate it and use it?
Yeah, so it was tired B&B, and so the plan is to it because there's no material change of use. There's no requirements to meet current building regs. So in essence, although there's 3 new bathrooms going in, it's more just a massive refurb than anything else. So we have to meet all the building regs for anything new going in, but there's no change of use or material change of use in the building controls eyes. So yeah, it's more just a massive cosmetic refurb. We're going to put
Right.
little mini kitchenettes in each room as well. So not quite the apartheid tale because we're not going to put hobs or toasters in, for various reasons. One being sort of like cooking smells, another being it would then push it into a change of use if the building control, if you put in cooking facilities in. Well, that was the feedback I had from those guys. But yeah, it'll be like fridge freezers and sinks, microwaves. Yeah, so it'll look really tidy, I think.
And then the plan is to advertise this on for service accommodation for people coming to the area for this distillery and just generally to the area. And how kind of high end are you going, or are you aiming it just mid-range?
Yeah, I want to go really push the limits of what Wooler can charge for at nightly rates, to really try and max that out. The yeah, definitely want to go as high as we can, basically. Definitely.
So creating an experience for people then, and yeah, giving them the wow factor.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and in terms of getting the team in place and funding, so how did the funding work? Because you haven't done a development project of this size before, so did that work with the lender? How did you raise the deposit money?
Yeah, so the original plan was for this to be converted into 4 flats for SA. So that was to get development finance. So it would be buy on a bridge and then put planning in, and then you can refinance onto development once the planning. So that was the original plan. Didn't quite get the figures quite right. So when the RICS valuation came back, then it it didn't meet the lender's criteria for loan to GDV, which I think was 65%. So that's when I had to almost switch strategies and do this self-checking hotel, which I'm glad I did, because I really like the model, and I can see this being rolled out quite well at different projects. So bought it on a bridge, and then my dad's putting security on my dad's house to raise some further money for the refurb.
Right, okay. And for the upfront deposit, is that just savings or an investor that you've worked with too?
Yeah, so I sold my residential property, so the one that took me about 5 years to complete. Sold that in 2022 in July, and that was the majority of the deposit money.
Great. Okay. So, all right then. So you're looking at holiday that's for this, and the actual refurb process itself. How has that been going? Working with different tradespeople, different professionals. How have you found, getting started on your first project?
Yeah, it's been eye-opening, definitely. You can do all the theory, but then when you're actually trying to implement it all, it's a challenge. There's a guy in Wooler that's been an absolute massive help to me. I've moved to the area knowing no one, and yeah, he's really like took me under his wing. He's been a plumber for, I don't know, 20 years, and yeah, that's been amazing for him to sort of steer me in certain directions. And then obviously you guys in YPN have come it from the other angle. So yeah, I felt like I've been nicely looked after. Yeah, definitely.
And so on the training side of things, and how has that helped you progress in this project, and how have you found the actual training useful itself?
Yeah, to the total development one, I mean, there's lots of, even though I didn't do the flats, there's many lessons in there that applies to this project. It's the same really. So yeah, like just schedule of works, I think that's probably the number one thing. Get the schedule of works done. That's your blueprint. That's really important. And I think just a quick tip that I think I found really useful is, like, if you do have Google, then it's almost because my mum's helping design this project, Jane. She's sending me a million photos on WhatsApp, and it's just getting those saved down, and then you can then share that from your G drive into your schedule of works. So when you're sending that out to the construction company, you've got the description of what you're hoping to achieve with a photo, and it just makes it so much clearer trying to get over to these guys the design concept. So yeah.
Yeah, having like the vision for what you want it to look like.
Yeah.
And why did you choose to work with Julian in terms of the design and having that? Because for a lot of people, that's something that they only really consider the design at the end of the project, rather than as an integral part of the the setup stage.
Yeah, if you want to achieve high prices, we need to have the best product in Wooler. So interior design is key. It's that wow factor when you walk in, when you go on holiday, and you walk into a new place and you get that wow factor. Then it's all. If we are trying to push the envelope on what we can achieve, then we need to really over deliver on the package. And yeah, part of that is interior design. And my mum's been a massive help. She's, like I said, she's taken the lead on the design, and yeah, she's done loads of projects in her time, and with the sort of advice from Julian and Jane working together, they've really like pushed. Well, Julian's really pushed my mum, I suppose, outside her comfort zones to do things maybe she wouldn't have potentially done in the past. But hopefully that gives us that real impact that we're hoping to achieve.
Yeah, it gives you the edge. And where do you think you would be now if you hadn't have done any of that training?
Probably selling the property. Yeah.
Well,
You need it. You need the
yeah.
guidance. I just don't know how you could do it without it. It'd be an impossible task.
Would be very stressful, I'm sure, if you're trying to figure it all out for yourself,
Yeah.
first time. And okay, so you obviously you said you had some experience with service accommodation previous to this project. So do you want to tell us about those, where they are, and how are they in terms of like producing an income for you?
Yeah, so my first experience into service accommodation holiday lets was with my mum's property up in Isle of Skye. So she moved up there maybe 6 years ago, and part of the house she bought had an outbuilding, and she saw that everyone was doing really well on renting their properties out on Airbnb. So we wanted to do the same, put the planning in for that conversion for the outbuilding, and we went up there I went up there in 2019 and helped self-build that property. So that was the first sort of my first exposure to holiday lets. Saw how well Mum's was doing, and then made it our mission to get our own. So we've got the Malt House. So the business itself is Isle of Skye Stays, and so there's the Lark Shed and then the Malt House. And I managed that property, the Malt House, to learn about channel managers, dynamic pricing, working with cleaners and guest management. So that's kind of my background in total.
Yeah, it's a good starting point for sure. And what have you learned then in terms so far in your property journey with, starting out with, obviously you've had experience with service accommodation with these properties in the past, and then this project. Anything that you would do differently, or any tips you would give to people who are starting their first development project?
Oh yeah, I think start sooner. I think that's probably the biggest mistake I made. Although I spent last 2022 like networking, getting myself educated, which was all great. There's probably, I think you need to at some point make a flip between like incoming information and building relationships and then actually putting work out. So although I was grafting, trying to get the property complete as fast as I could, so that was always the number one task. There was other stuff I probably should have been doing at that time. The vendor wasn't particularly helpful letting us into the property, but I had drawings, so I could have been doing color plans, M&E schedules, schedule of works. Could have had that ready really when I moved in, but yeah, didn't know didn't know how much work
You
was
don't know
involved.
what you don't know what you don't know. So, you're saying more prep if you've got, say, key access to whilst the deal was going through.
Definitely.
So more prep at that stage, okay. And what's next for it then? So when do you hope this will all be up and running and bringing in some
Yeah,
cash?
yeah. Uh, just progressing finance now, so that's hopefully 2-3 weeks away tops, and then it's a 3-month build, open for August. Said it now.
Fantastic. Right, well, we can put the links to that in the show notes if anyone is interested in going up to a whiskey distillery. That's right, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, in Wooler. Whereabouts is Wooler?
deep in Northumberland, pretty much the Scottish borders, just like in
Right,
between Alnwick and Berwick.
right, okay. Well, I'm sure lots of people got their summer holidays planned up there and could drop in for sure. Why not? Great. And any final tips for people who are thinking about getting into property, but they're, not sure whether they've kind of got the confidence to make the leap from the corporate world or from day job, and they're not sure where to start.
Yeah, I think it's, although yeah, it's starting and then it's courage. I think they're the two. I think starting as in, yeah, I mean, I wish I started 10 years ago, and it's a pointless conversation to even have that. But yeah, once you've realised, once you actually start, and then yeah, it takes time and it's consistency. But yeah, just start educating yourself, networking, and then the courageous part is just like really just like trying to push your comfort zones and just breaking down those anything that you're fearful in life. I mean, it's getting on webinars, showing your face. I mean, I used to be like a Zoom ninja, just had my camera off, didn't speak in my corporate career, and just getting the camera on, showing your face, and just constant and just slowly building that confidence up. But yeah, so that's the being courageous part, I think.
Right. And you, as I said before, you're pretty active on social media. How are you finding using social media to raise your profile? And are you getting any interest from investors, or is it just about like the long-term game of getting, being credible on social media?
Yeah, so I never posted a single thing in my 20s, right? So that going from where from that to this is and again that was the being courageous part. I think it's just I try and do a weekly one on LinkedIn and Instagram, like a weekly update, and I just do like a daily Instagram story. And yeah, like you said, the goal is raise their profile to hopefully get investors in the future. All my cash will be tied up in this project, so if I want to keep moving forward, and I think everyone's cash runs out on this journey if they start with a pot
Yeah.
of cash. So you need to raise your profile and then hopefully JV with someone once you've built relationships with someone, or raising an angel finance. So yeah, that's the play basically. Yeah.
And do you think you'll carry on with service accommodation, sort of continue to build a portfolio within that strategy, or will you try something else?
Yeah, I just think the C1 strategy needs to happen now before everyone jumps on it. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
well,
be
yeah, the C1 class use says, you've already got the B&B, so you should be
yeah.
pretty protected from any changes within the all of these changes that are happening with service accommodation for residential properties. So that's been, I'm sure that'll be a bonus for you.
Yeah. So try and roll out a few more. That's the plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
All in the same area?
yeah, potentially, yeah. But then I know I need to diversify as well. So it's been on my mind that with COVID, I know I'm not going to touch wood. Obviously, nothing's going to happen. But if my sole strategy is this, then it's risky. So I will need to diversify at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, plenty of time for that, but let's see how you get on. We look forward to seeing what this project brings for you and how you get on with the with finalising everything and getting it all set up. But it'd be great to kind of have you back on in the future and later on in the year and see, how the actual build went and how it's, setting everything up and all your systems, etc. But yeah, really inspiring to just see you getting out there and getting started and using all the training, putting it all into action, making it
Awesome.
happen.
Thank you, and thank you, Michelle. You have been amazing, and the YPN team has been awesome as well. So thank you very much.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's been great to watch your journey so far. Thanks very much, Ben, and thanks for everyone who has been listening to our podcast. And if you are not yet a subscriber to the magazine, please click the link in the show notes for your free 30-day trial. See you next time, guys.